Good morning, beautiful people of the Center for Spiritual Living. Today is Memorial Day, it's Memorial Day weekend, and I thought it's appropriate that Memorial Day would land right in the month that we are observing gratitude as a spiritual practice. It seems quite appropriate because Memorial Day is all about gratitude. It's intended to be a time for us to set aside to consider those who sacrificed their own lives so that others might be served and have freedom and abundance and security. I'm a pretty new American, so I've been learning about Memorial Day, and as a result, each time Memorial Day comes around, I find that it evokes a lot of deep thinking in me. I start thinking about how many people have sacrificed, some I don't even know, some I do know, so that I might have happiness. And it's quite staggering. And it's all being amplified by the topic, the assigned topic today, which is, thank God I'm loved. It's really bringing it up to think about. And some of the people who have contributed to my life have done in spectacular ways, but others in just very simple, ordinary acts of kindness. And I'm taking that all in. I was just remembering when I started thinking about this, how in my family of origin, how many people sacrificed so that I could have an education. I wasn't aware of it at the time, but in retrospect, in reflection, I can see there was a lot of shifting around, a lot of doing without, a lot of this and that. I see it now. So I'm thinking about that, the people who have contributed to help my life be. And I invite you to think about that yourself this weekend, even now. Call to mind the people who have contributed to your life, even maybe sacrificed. And speaking of education, I was at the Santa Rosa Junior College graduation yesterday, and it turns out that it was the largest number of graduates graduating in the history of the junior college. Which is something to think about. What's going on, right? And the commencement speech was very thoughtful too. It was given by Celestino Fernandez, a professor at the University of Arizona, I believe, and he was a graduate of the junior college. He got his AA degree right there. It's very interesting. And he talked, and among other things that he's very well known for is this interest he has emerging in him right now, in the pursuit of happiness. And he talked about the pursuit of happiness, and he said the world of advertising would have you and I think, buy this item and you'll be happy. And buy this updated version of this item, more recent version, you'll be more recently happy. Whereas research, he says, now he didn't mention which research, but it doesn't matter because the ideas are excellent. He says the research shows that happiness is associated with other things, in particular 3 key things. The first being friends and family. The second being service to others, do for or contribute to the lives of others. And the third thing, to live an authentic life. I've been thinking about that too. The first one, how happiness comes through the connections we have to our family, our extended family, our friends, our chosen family, or people. One woman in our congregation was talking about how she's been so stimulated by the practice of writing thank you notes that is so well illustrated in this book, 365 Thank Yous. the year, A Simple Act of Daily Gratitude Changed My Life. And the angle she's coming to it from is she's writing a thank you note to every single member of her family that she can call to mind, because she realized it's so easy for her to take them for granted just because they're there all the time. Just take a cousin, an uncle, and aunt for granted. So she's sitting down and mindfully writing a note to every single member of her family, even if she sees them every day. And what I got out of that is that she's writing to them to tell them what they mean to her right now. And for me, that means you and I, we don't have to wait for people to be gone to remember them. We don't have to wait for people to be gone before we cherish them. And today, the way of things, families sometimes are spread out across this vast and beautiful country of ours. We can live many hours flights apart, and sometimes the busy pace of our schedules make it so that even if we live in a big, beautiful city like Santa Rosa, we can still experience ourselves feeling alone, living an isolated life, feeling disconnected. So I'm remembering that. I'm thinking about that and thinking how important it is for me and for us to take advantage of the opportunities that put us in connection with people. Like our community picnic that's coming up in July. It's one of the most popular events, and now I know why. Because there's no agenda. We're not learning anything other than to feed off of what happens when we are with each other. There are so many beautiful social and learning events that are free for you and I to take advantage of. Like, for example, there are meditation groups that you can drop in. That's great. You don't even have to engage. You can just be in community. Or how about Spirit in Business, the group that gets together once a month and they have a free event, a speaker, people who with like-minded approach, interested in bringing spirituality into the focus in their business endeavors. Or how about the once a month men's brunch breakfast, first Saturday of the month, Man Spirit, where people get together. And some men say that is their truest community. I understand. Or how about the weekly young adults group for young adults? Or how about Stepping Stones and those events that come quite frequently? And the upcoming one with the well-known author Mark Allen coming to speak. It's all free. Opportunities for us to move out of isolation into connection for our happiness. Or spiritual family camp, whether your family is just you or a whole number of people, you can still go and be with people in nature. Because connecting leads to happiness and leads us to understand in a fresh way just how loved we are. That's the first thing. Connect with friends and family. And the second one is this: do for or contribute to others. In other words, service is very important because it contributes to happiness and it contributes meaning and value. There's nothing, I don't think, that is equal to service to bring value out like that. It's why it's one of our pillars, selfless service. It connects us to happiness and each other, and perhaps reminds us of our connection to the thing itself. And Memorial Day is a time when we are intended to remember those people who have contributed meaning and value through their service to humanity, primarily through the military services. And each year as Memorial Day comes along, I find myself expanding that, broadening it to also feel the gratitude and appreciation that comes up when I think about those people who have left a legacy of meaning and inspiration, who have touched lives by doing for and contributing to others in whatever form that takes place. And I've been thinking so far when I started putting this all together about the lyric of Reverend Fred Small's song that says, "The only measure of our words and our deeds is the love we leave behind when we're gone." I've been thinking about that. What do I leave behind when I leave a room? Is it love? Sometimes not so much. I'm looking at that. And not only that, this weekend I'm also thinking of those people who put themselves in harm's way, who run towards danger, like in Boston. Sometimes losing their own lives to protect, to rescue, to help, to save, to bring peace, to make a difference. And that was on my mind because of this practice gratitude booklet that some of us have been going through, because on May 22nd, that was the question. We're invited every day to make a list of 10 things we are grateful for based on a certain topic. And on the 22nd was, what do I appreciate about peace officers and first responders? And I wrote, I appreciate their service. I really do. I appreciate their courage. I really do. And I appreciate their families and their friends and the people who love them. And I appreciate their hearts, to have a heart for that work. And I appreciate their commitment, and I appreciate that they have a calling for that somebody has a calling for that. And I appreciate their training, and I appreciate what they contribute to the world, and I appreciate their humanness, and so much to appreciate. So I invite you this weekend to join me in thinking about people like this. Or you can make it very personal. You can, if you like, spend some time this weekend thinking about those people, whether they are living or dead, who have made a significant contribution to your life. And you know, if they are dead, well, I invite you to decorate your mind with their memory by thinking about what value they illustrated in the world that you admired or benefited from. And then you can honor them by being that value, be that quality. Just be it for 1 hour tomorrow. And that way you can let them live on through you. And you don't even have to tell anybody you're doing it. Just be that. And if they are still alive, these people, this person who's made a significant contribution to your life, well, there's the service part. Do something for them. You could write them a thank you card. That's beautiful. You'd send them flowers. Take them flowers. Or you could tell them. The first thing is find connection with family and friends because of how important it is to our happiness and well-being. The second is to do something for someone, for others, because service reconnects you to deep meaning and happiness. And the third thing is to live an authentic life. Well, I got an email this week from somebody that really gave me a very pleasant twist on a moment of true authenticity. Because last week, you might remember, as people came into the center, we handed out blank thank you cards. And the invitation was to take that thank you card and not rush, but to keep an eye open, look for the opportunity, find the appropriate person to send a thank you card to. And I've been hearing wonderful, wonderful stories about that. Well, this person wrote and said, after receiving the card at the Sunday service, I waited, as you suggested, for a few days. I could have sent it off immediately to quite a few people, and then she goes and lists all of the people she could have properly have sent that to. But today, I heard myself once again turning away from someone's gracious and generous offer, and I realized there is one person I regularly forget to thank. And honestly, and quite humbly, that is me. So I signed the card that had printed inside there, "Thank you for taking the time to do the nicest things." I signed it, "From your spirit self," and I will mail it off to myself tomorrow. It's an act that, frankly, is so unlike me that it therefore seems important to do. So here I am again saying thank you and the center for continuing to be a holy well for me. I am ever grateful. Wow. Now I invite you again, sometime this weekend, to take a moment to think about how you help. To think about what do you contribute. To think about how you add to other people's experience. Maybe ask it this way: for what do I deserve a thank you card? And maybe you are the person to write it. Living authentically is waking up to things like this. I think to me, living authentically means becoming me. You becoming you. How? Well, one way is this program that we've been doing all year of practice. The spiritual work will do it. It will lead us to an authentic experience of being ourselves awake in the world. And I'm all for that, and I'm trying as best as I can to not go asleep on the job, because it's tempting. And I see sometimes I do. I let myself off the hook. Like, for example, in this Practicing Gratitude booklet, as I page back, I see which of the days I just skipped over, right? And I realize sometimes I skip over something. You find what you skipped over, there's a learning there. There's a message there, I'm avoiding something, going to sleep, and I'm not being me because I don't want to think about it. Well, recently I found there's definitely evidence of avoidance in me. I found it in the workbook from the Intentions Retreat that we taught just recently. Because when you go on the Intentions Retreat, you get a workbook that has different areas of your life specified for you to do things at. And as I was reflecting on it, one whole section was blank. Relationships. Interesting. Well, the good news for me, and maybe for you too, is that we're bringing the Intentions Workshop back in August and October in-house, so it's very affordable. And so I'll get another opportunity for me to go and back and do the work that I'm avoiding. Don't let myself off the hook. But I'm not going to wait until October and August. I'm going to go back with this and look at the pages I've missed and let this practice help me find my authentic self. This practice is great. It helps clear out the cobwebs, I've been talking to people from the community about this year of practice that we've been doing, I hear this often, forgiveness, the forgiveness month was difficult, but actually I'm finding that the gratitude month is just as difficult. Or I would say, revealing. One friend of mine said, for me, the month on forgiveness was a breeze. I've done so much work, I just sailed right through it. And then I got to the gratitude, and it's really working me. And I've heard this from a number of people, stumbling on different things in the little book. One person stumbled right there when it got to grateful for fathers. Another person stumbled right there where it got to favorite childhood memories. Another person stumbled right there, world leaders. And so the work is going deep in our community, and it's really bringing some deep, rich thinking and deep, rich feeling, and reminding us that living authentically means living wide awake. Several people have said to me, I'm finding that my conversations with people are becoming different. because there's more of me present. As I wake up to myself, as I reflect more on my inner life, I can be more present in conversation, to take in other people because of this looking deep into my world. And this is the last day of the gratitude practice, and at the end of the booklet there's a section called Pay It Forward that describes a practice that you don't even need the booklet to do it. You can just do it with a notepad. It's the idea of using your imagination to invoke gratitude this way, by thinking of what in 1 year's time would you enjoy being grateful for. It's just an exercise in gratitude. We do it every year in Thanksgiving anyway, but why wait to Thanksgiving? So you can make a list, and it's just a playful way of using your imagination to think about what it is you'd like to be grateful for. There's some power in doing that. It seems to me that when I write that down, it brings it into focus in my life. It's just a beautiful practice. And of course, I can't not bring with me a handful of the thank you cards that keep coming in. You know, I just grabbed a handful because they're so beautiful, and they are written to you. Like this one. Thank you. You've taught me so many wonderful tools, life skills, how to accept the way of things. You've given me stories that make me laugh and think and cry and ponder. They've enriched my life, and I'm deeply grateful. You light up my life. Is that beautiful? That's for you. How about this one over here? I'm so grateful to have you in my life. Time and again, from the stage, I hear exactly what I need to hear every time at the exact time I need to hear it. I appreciate the humor at the center, the musical talent, the way that the message is given with us and not at us. And oh yes, I'm supposed to be short and to the point, so thank you. See, she's referencing the book where we were given the anatomy of a thank you card, short and sweet and to the point. Well, I can't always be short and sweet and to the point, although one person was able to do that, and I didn't bring the card with, and the card said very simply, thank you. And at the bottom there was a footnote saying, essay available upon request. Isn't that wonderful? And this one is still in the envelope because I only noticed today that there was a check in it, so I don't want to lose it. Check. Yeah, I love this. Look at this. I've been coming to the center for over 13 years. I feel so grateful every Sunday, and sometimes every day, or several times a day, for all that the center has in it. Apparently, I'm not rushing, as it has been 13 years. But now I finally put it in writing, that I'm so grateful for the center, and sometimes I cry with joy and the amazing sense of grace that fills me. I want to thank you for the books that you recommend, in particular this one this month, which I bought 3 months ago. I keep it on a table in my office at work, and it helps me to stay calm when others are in conflict, sometimes towards me, and I see people look at the book. And some have even asked about it, and it goes on. Isn't that beautiful? It's like reaching out into the world with this work that we are doing. And this one over here also had a check in it. I'm just saying. Well, I'm grateful. The center has helped me so much. I deal with so many different people every day, and I see myself so much happier with myself now. Even when people give me a hard time, I treat them better, and that makes me even happier. You've made me happy and grateful happy. You know, wow. Gracias, merci beaucoup, grazie. So many ways to say thank you, and so many reasons to say thank you. And not enough paper in all the world to write it down. You have made me a believer. Oh my God. I only need to read the first line of this one. It's to you. You have changed my life. Huh? And this one, it's a prayer. A card with a prayer in it. A spiritual mind treatment. That's all. I love it. So I'm going to read it to you as our closing of our sharing time together. So I invite you to breathe in with me and to exhale, letting your eyes close if that feels comfortable, as we hear these words of prayer. There is one whole, perfect, complete, omniscient, omnipresent life, and I am the place where it shows up. I am one within creative intelligence, and today I am claiming for myself and for this center the prosperity, the peace, and the abundance that reflects herself in every moment. I bless this gift, and I know that as it is spoken, it is already done. And so I just let go and let God. And so it is. I invite you to breathe in with me and to sigh